Meeting to order for, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to our regular Township Board meeting of Wednesday, June 13th, 2018. Roll call, please. Sherry?
Sue? I'm here. Tom?
Yes.
Kathy?
Here.
Mary Agnes?
Here.
Sherry? Here.
Okay, we have additions and deletions for our agenda. The first one is we're going to be adding a bill from Kelly Law Firm for $187.50. Emergency repair to pay Duluth Construction for, that was $36.30, wasn't it?
Yes.
And renewal of a Michigan Department of Participating Plan for Township John Godoffi's office for our insurance for the township in the amount of $12,893. Under new business, we'll have number 9 added, request approval of additional hardware and installation to pump station number 1 to supply and install 1 float in the wet well for the high alarm and conduit with explosion-proof fittings for the cost of $540. We also have another one under F, a PowerPoint presentation by Superintendent Chris Hiltman from the Department of Public Service regarding our water rates, and we're going to switch that and put him first under new business, and then we'll just continue with our stuff. So we'll start with 10. And then we have announcements. Bill Graytop sent me an invite for the Township Board at the Partners in Progress for a meeting with some public and private sector leadership connecting the state and local governments together for Partners in Progress, and I'll tell you about that. Then we have on the consent agenda, please remove under 4B the Ira Township Department runs for May. They did not get them to me, which probably means there wasn't any. And then F, new business, remove the adoption of the budget resolution BR 2017-2018-002. So I would need a motion to put these on and off.
Can I ask something on this Duluth construction? Did you get that corrected?
Yes.
So it's,
Yes, what she did was, the hours were correct, but none of this was correct.
Okay.
These were all typing errors, she said.
okay.
That's what we discovered. But she did send us a new bill.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve the add-on and add up and delete for the,
I'll make a motion to approve the add-ons and deletions for the board agenda of June 13, 2016.
okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, motion carried. Now we'll approve the rest of the agenda. We have the minutes from May 9th. We have the approval of treasurer's reports dated April 30th. This is the new one. We're starting a month later so that Kathy doesn't have to rush around trying to get this stuff completed and timely to everybody.
That should read, that's just the treasurer's cash to bank statement, because that's not a bank reconciliation.
Oh, you want that one removed too?
No. When I requested it on the agenda, I was specific that April's treasurer's cash to bank statement, that's not a bank reconciliation. Just so you know, it should be changed.
Okay, so where do
It's
you
the
want,
April's right here.
what letter is it?
It would be
2B.
for 2C.
Oh, 2C. Okay, it's the tax account?
Yes, it's just the treasurer's portion of the bank reconciliation. So it's the treasurer's cash to bank statement for April.
Okay, well, doesn't that
This-
say
this-
567?
This one, I'm going to delete, but this one for the tax is just
Okay,
the-
those were 2 items in
Right,
one line.
right.
Okay. All right, so we're going to take out the 3908.
Well, you should take out the, what is this? C2B. Delete that, because we won't get anything as far as a bank rec till after SBW comes through.
Okay?
And then my responsibility is to do the cash to bank statement. That's what I did for the tax account. So C
to
should
bank.
read treasurer's cash to bank statement. There are no bank reconciliations. So it should say treasurer's cash to bank
Cash to bank statement.
On C.
on C.
Okay, we have the rest of it, this is all right, though, right?
Yep,
with the-
yep, that's
okay,
good.
Cash summary reports by fund, approval of the clerk's reports, revenue and expenditure report ending May 31st, approval of paychecks, approval of accounts payables, and a copy of the Fifth Third corporate account with a balance due of $22.16, which was paid. We also have the Marine City Fire Authority report, and we have deleted that 4B. So if there's any other changes, additions, or deletions on the agenda, otherwise we'll approve it as presented and corrected. Do we have a motion for that? I'll so move.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. All right. Let's start with open session. Is there, Mr. Barnes, do you have anything you want to say, or at this point, anything on the agenda itself?
No, just that, we shouldn't even put agriculture on there for the fire reports, because we never get them, so we're starting that line.
Well, but we get them once in a while,
Oh,
when they have a
We
fire.
have gotten a few, yeah.
Yeah, they have to be a fire,
Yeah.
you know, otherwise he probably just skips me.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes I get them the day of the meeting, so, and I
So
can't.
that's a good thing.
I have to
Yeah.
put it on,
Zero.
yeah,
You
I
can
have
say
to put it
no.
on the agenda in case because it's something that should be looked at. Okay, they're pretty good when they're,
When they're good, they're good, when they're bad, they're bad.
well, that's how all men are, so.
Oh, yeah, we're all numbered, Tom.
You think?
Unfinished business. I think we've seen some, things going on over at, that blight complaint that Kathy brought to our attention. Last month, I'm not exactly sure who's doing it, I haven't been able to find that out. Do you know what firm is doing it, what trucking company that's in there? Have you seen anybody you know?
I talked to Terrell, he was dropping a great big machine off. I'm not sure.
Okay, then I would say it's probably St. Clair County Mental Health. Okay,
So we didn't initiate that, then that
well,
was.
I made enough phone calls up there, yes.
Okay, but it's not us moving it.
No.
They had a big semi truck, but, you know, opens, you know, go along, but it looked like it was V-shaped back in there all the way in. And they were moving stuff out.
They've got it cleaned up. I come by there tonight and I just peeked in.
Yeah, it
It's
looked a lot better.
very well
So-
groomed up.
That's good.
Yeah,
It looked
see,
good.
Farther up the driveway, like to the east, there was a big pile there the other day, but the front yard looks
Yeah.
so much better.
That's good.
Yeah.
So we
And-
can
and the
check
horse-
that off the
And the
list?
horses
Well,
gone.
it's in progress, let's put
Yeah.
it, we can probably always
Keep
check
it.
it next month if you'd like,
Yep.
but, treasurer's status, a request on the status of the treasurer's department proposal with Shangri-La and sewer and tap-in fees. I spoke to the lawyer in person the other day about a couple other things, this was one of them, and she said that she would like us to, she has the contract, but she says that that didn't look like the contract that McNamee would draw, and I didn't think it was either. So I think it might have been something that was proposed by them, and somebody probably didn't catch it. But I think what we'll do is we're going to have her, she's looking at it right now, she wants to kind of decide whether we'll proceed with it as a breach of contract, or if we're gonna start with all over again, which will change a lot of things around here.
Well, bring more money in,
Yes.
which
yes,
we're due.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Good.
she told me she wanted to, on this next thing too with the, she got your letter back, but she didn't understand what you wanted, so I gave her another copy, and I told her that the delinquent personal property accounts, the reason that she couldn't understand why she had a couple of them screwed up, And I said, because someone in your office is probably checking the tax ID numbers, and they're for the current owner, and they're not the one that's the problem.
Yeah,
These
they're
are
not for
old
the back
ones.
years.
Right.
You had all previous years marked. So I think that she's gonna be getting that to you, and she did say that one of yous will have to go to court and appear. The status on the letter to the clerk was included in the
Yeah, I
demolition
saw that.
permit.
Looked
You
good.
saw that.
Yeah.
Okay. New business.
What about, the letter to
All right, to AJ.
AJ's for the current situation there?
For the what?
His
AJ's?
current delinquent personal property.
AJ's?
Oh, she got that all together, but I don't think you mentioned that on your letter that you sent back, did you? Okay, well then she's gonna address it then.
Yeah, we asked her to
Because-
send a letter to him, maybe
Yeah.
that would
You
deter.
figured maybe he'd pay if he got a lawyer letter, otherwise, I mean, because we're in the rights of getting the police involved in seizing his property for the current ones.
Okay.
What
Because
is
he's
it that-
not old enough, the taxes aren't old enough to be written off yet,
Yeah,
so,
now she saw that.
okay.
I said, well, is there another angle that we could work, and she said that she would think about
I
it.
was just wondering if she's
Send a
sending a
letter.
letter,
Oh, I don't
like
know,
we asked.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but I will ask her that when she calls me
That's
on
what
this other
should be
stuff.
done.
Well, she says she kinda doesn't like to get involved in that stuff, that they usually don't go that far with the lawyer. And I said, well, if push comes to shove, that's what we want, so. And that was what your request was. Okay?
She's not doing the letter then? Or-
She's gonna think about it, but I told her, I said that, you tell me how you think we should proceed. But she says that she's never done anything like that for pushing the business on seizing property and stuff. She's not done anything along those lines yet, so.
Well, let's just take a look at it again and see what our options are,
Oh, that's the only
Yep.
option at this point.
other than getting involved with
Have the
police company.
Sheriff do it, yeah.
We were trying to avoid that.
Yeah, well, maybe the letter was a little
That's what
push
we-
might.
That's what we asked her to do.
Okay. Well, maybe she didn't get the drift then. Okay, PowerPoint, Mr. Chris is going to give us kind of a rundown on this. He's worked on this now about 3 weeks.
Yeah, I apologize that I thought I had sent an email out with the information. I will get it over to you so you can look at it. I want everybody to be able to mill it over a little bit. It's just basically, we had a small discussion on the rates that we're paying and, you know, kind of, I guess, the status of our water system. We did the asset management study at the beginning, or it was due January 1st of this year, so we put that together, submitted it, and it basically showed us that we needed to do something. We needed to make some changes, and so I guess basically what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you sort of where we're at, my suggestions, and then I'll get you that information so that you can mull it over. I don't expect you to make a decision right on the fly, but at least be able to bounce some questions off me, and we can look at maybe some further questioning as we get deeper. So, again, it's just pretty basic. Sherry helped me out with a bunch of information that I needed to gather to kind of put this stuff together. So basically, we're just gonna talk about the rates. What are we paying right now? That's one of the things that we had to find out first. So cost per 1,000 gallons, that's how we pay our water bill, that's how we get charged. Currently, if you look at across the top, those are our, people that we get water from. Marine City is currently charging us $10.40 per 1,000. That's what we're currently being charged from Marine City. Ira Township is charging us $8.34, Clay Township $12.23 per 1,000 for an average of $10.32 per 1,000 gallons. That's what we're paying, average per 1,000. What are we charging? We're charging $10.50 per 1,000. So even if you don't look at any of these other numbers, we're charging $10.50. If we're averaging $10.32, we're only looking at maybe 18 cents per 1,000 profit. But that's not real. The real numbers, these dates, we took a snapshot in time for a year. We went from, I believe it was March 31st of last year to April 1st of this year. Figured out what we spent and what we were charged, and we averaged about 17.5% water loss. There's I want to say there's an acceptable water loss. DEQ likes to see that number below 10%. Water loss, you know, when I say water loss, water main breaks, leaky surfaces, hydrant flushing, if we flush hydrants, aging water meters. All those added together, you get up to 17.5%. So real numbers, if you do the math, from Marine City, we're paying $12.22 per thousand, $9.80 from Ira Township, $14.37 from Clay. So our real numbers that we're being charged is $12.13 per thousand. We're still only charging $10.50 per thousand. So in essence, we could say that the township is eating whatever's, you know, left over. So the real cost, again, right here, dragging these numbers out. If you assume 0% water loss, which there's no, I can tell you right now, there's no municipality that has 0% water loss. It's just, that's not true. It never happens. So even if you did assume that, we would basically, well, let's go back to here. At $10.50 per thousand, this is currently what we're charging. We'd be making 18 cents per thousand. That's what we'd make in a year. 10% water loss, we're losing $33,000. At 17.5% water loss, we're losing about $63,000 in the water system, which you have to get that money from somewhere. You're either getting it out of your fund balance or general fund, which general fund is not supposed to pay for water. So we have to cover our costs, basically. So what I did is I just kind of drew out, you know, some different figures where we would be at different rates per thousand. You know, at $12.50 per thousand, assuming that we're at 17.5% water loss, we'd be looking at, you know, a profit of 37 cents per thousand gallons, yearly profit of 14,000. It's not much money. $14,000 a year doesn't really cover anything. I can show you. We also have a base fee that we charge. So covering costs, we're talking about base quarterly fee. Our quarterly fee currently is $21. Our customer base, we have 738 customers, so we're bringing in about $62,000 with our quarterly fees. I put a budget together based on kind of some historical stuff that was done. I haven't been here long enough to be able to give you, you know, hard numbers, but based on some stuff that we've done, things that have been done in the past, my proposed budget for water this year is $78,000. $7,300. So again, to cover this budget, we would have to look at raising that base fee to $28 so that we could bring in $82,000, and that would basically cover our budget. I did the asset management. I can tell you when I did the asset management says basically all we're doing. We don't have a lot of assets here. Our water mains, our fire hydrants, our valves, that kind of stuff's our assets. We put figures and numbers on there of when we should replace them. You know, we're talking about water mains replacing in 100 years or 70 years. So, you know, based on figures of that for water mains, hydrants, valves, those numbers said that we should be trying to save $190,000 a year on top of our expenses. So you can see just by making these small adjustments that we're doing now, that's not even taking into account what we should be saving to cover our assets. So again, I just wanted to kind of bring a little bit of that to light to show you that, you know, just because you get a water bill from Marine City and it's $10.40 per thousand and we're charging $10.50, you're not making 10 cents profit. You're just not. And just so you know, those numbers are somewhat, I don't want to say they're skewed, but I want to be honest about it too. They're a little bit skewed to the point that the bulk of our water comes from Marine City. So, though I'm telling you that it's $10.32 per thousand, it's probably a little bit lower than that because we're not getting a ton of water from Clay Township, who charges us the most. Most of our water comes from Marine City. Ira Township's our second highest supply. So, I mean, if you were to look at it, it's probably more like 60-40-10 percentage-wise of who we get our water from. If we get all our water from Ira Township, we might not have to raise rates. We could just reap the benefits of that cost. But we'd have to make a big capital investment to make that happen, you know, connecting water mains. So I guess this is just sort of, I will send this presentation to you just so you can see the numbers and have them, and you know, like I said, we can talk about it. But you haven't raised your water rates from what I understand in
2010.
Yeah, so we're talking 8 years. That's scary. I mean, my proposal, what I would like to see you do is to bring your water rates up to, just, for now, if you brought the rates up to $12.50 per thousand, you're at least gonna be in the black. Assuming that we're gonna add 17.5% water loss. Obviously, our goal, our job is to try to get that 17.5% down closer to 10%. But we can't control water main breaks, and that kind of stuff. What we can do and what we can talk about is meters. Your meters are not that old, but just so you know, 20 years is an extinct meter, basically. So, and if we brought this charge up to $28, then we could basically cover what we feel our operating budget is. Again, it's not putting anything away for future expenses or capital improvements. I've been working with PCE, talking about the CIP. I know you approved doing the capital improvement stuff through them. So once we get that together, that'll kind of give us a better idea of what our true capital improvement cost should be, which is going to affect this again a little bit, but I think you just need to make these baby steps. You need to, understand that we have to raise rates. Nobody likes to raise rates. I know nobody up here likes to raise rates. No citizens like to hear that the rates are increasing, but the fact of the matter is there's a cost to do business, and the township can't continue to supply water and sewer and not even be able to cover the cost. So one of the other things that are done in other communities, meter replacement charge. I implemented a meter replacement charge in Iowa Township. We did it in the city of New Baltimore 13 years ago. I am spending over $1 million in New Baltimore over the next couple of years replacing water meters. And zero of that money is coming out of my operating budget. All that money I collected was in meter replacement fees. Because if you figure, when we charge a homeowner for a tap, we're charging them for a meter. After that meter is gone, the meter's life expectancy is 20 years, we try to get that out of them, the next meter's on us. So that operating budget that we're talking about, we're not even really talking about dipping into that too much for meter changeouts. Realistically, your meter system, like I said, is getting older. You're probably experiencing some water loss through there. I'm sure, I know you are, because as meters age, they slow down, just like we do, we slow down as we age, so. Meters do the same thing. The mechanical meters do. There's new meters out there. I've put 2 different systems in Iowa and Baltimore now that they're ultrasonic meters. They're not mechanical, so they run accurate 100% until they die. But it's something we should look at. And a small fee, what we're talking about, most of these homes around here have a 5/8 by 3/4 meter, so you're looking at about a $3.25 charge per quarter for homeowners, which would generate approximately $10,000 a year. So hopefully by the time that we're looking at changing meters out, even if we knew that we were getting $10,000 a year budget money for meter change out, we can start to do that. As meters are 15 years old, we can start going after, portions of them, and at least moving forward. If we just wait, and then year 20 comes, and we try to scratch up $500,000 or $300,000, whatever it'll be here, it's a big hit. So something else to consider. Other communities, like I said, are doing it. Again, anytime you put a fee on a water bill or a charge, citizens are gonna, they're gonna have an issue with it. But like I said, we charge them for the first meter, then after that, it's sort of on the house.
Our baby.
So it's something else to look at. I think just ways that we can try to generate a little more revenue so that you can move forward. Because right now, you're not even stalling; you're moving backward. You're sliding backwards. We've got the sewer system now, the fees are getting up there a little bit, so now there's starting to be some money generated. We just put the proposal together for the state that we had to do for that sewer violation. We sent that out, and the numbers really are looking promising for what we're collecting, and then looking at some loan programs and stuff that we'll be able to cover costs with what we're bringing in and our proposed increases going forward. So we just have to get the water on the same pace, because if we don't, you're already way behind. I mean, you are. It's just we got to catch up. And then my next statement would be putting something in like a reoccurring increase every year. In Iowa Township, we have cost of living increase goes into effect every year. That cost of living increase is always there. it just slides up a little bit every year, and it helps. I mean, if you go up 1.5% or 2% a year, rate increase, it covers your costs, because, I mean, like it or not, we get a letter from all three of those communities every year to tell us what their rates went up. I can tell you, Iowa Township raises your rates by the cost of living every year. So if we don't at least
Recover
do that for ourselves, we're falling further behind. So, again, like I said, I don't want to overwhelm you with a bunch of that stuff, and I will get you the email with all those slides and the figures, and I'm more than willing to talk to you at any time, and we can have a special meeting about rates or something, whatever is comfortable for you. But I just want to make you aware that we need to, as a township, we really need to address that sooner than later. Again, I know as elected officials, it's tough to tell the citizens that you're going to raise rates, but
Yeah, but where else is that money coming from then?
if you don't get that money from the water rates, we still have to pay bills. Marine City doesn't understand if we don't pay the bill. They're not going to say, well, okay, we'll forgive you this time. They still want their money. So we have to do it. And if, we have to at least make ourselves solvent in that area so that we're not affecting different aspects of the township. So I guess that's my.
Anybody got any questions? Done a nice job putting that together.
Very nice job. Yeah, we gotta get this thing where it's supporting itself. The people that are using the water are the ones that have to support it, not just come out of the general fund.
Right, no, you should never have to support water.
That's not fair that any taxpayer, and the ones that use more water is gonna be paying for more of the upkeep.
I think most people, like, I know I paid for water. I knew we hadn't raised them in 10 years, so I don't want to be hit with something forced on me.
Yeah.
I'd rather look at it, get the figures, and, I think most people know it's coming.
I think they do too, because like I said, every other community is doing it. The problem here is, I see rates in other communities, and I can tell you, most of them are around $5 or thereabouts. But when you come here, it's twice as much. It's just because you're a customer, But unfortunately, the township's not in a position of being, giving away water. So we have to at least cover our costs. Plus, we need to get some money in reserves for these issues that are coming, because you have a lot of new stuff out there. You have a lot of new water main, a lot of new hydrants, a lot of new valves. But I will tell you that all that new stuff, Tom can attest to that new stuff's it's really not even new anymore. After 12 years, 13 years, we had a water main break over on Arnold. That main's not that old.
2009.
Does the state mandate that we do this as well? I know
Yes,
the other communities, is it based on population, or is it?
It's not part of that. What I spoke about, the asset management.
Yeah.
The state is starting to push the asset management programs like the SAW. That's why we got the SAW grant, is because the sewer asset management, the water department, we had to do that on the water end as well.
Okay.
I put the water one together because we don't have a lot of assets, so it was kind of easy to put together on that end of it. So they do basically say, you need to have that in place along with the capital improvement plan that we're working on, and show that you're going to fund it. I don't think they don't expect you to, we can't come out of the gate right now and do what we want to do here and assume that we're going to raise rates high enough to bank $190,000 a year. We can't do that. There is a point where people will accept an increase, and then there's a point where people will definitely reject a major increase. But I think if we look at this as, it's a marathon and not a sprint, we just need to work at getting to that goal. We have to keep moving forward. So this is kind of the baby steps moving forward, just to at least get us so that when we put a budget together that we don't, so that we are in the black with our budget every year. That's my goal, at least, to make sure that we are. So.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time on it.
So when we get this information, I'll give it to you, just kind of study it. As soon as he sends it to me, I'll mail it to you or email it to you. And then next meeting, we'll discuss whatever we can do to make this reality.
Okay.
If that's all right with everybody. Okay. All right, the next item is a request by the treasurer to place the township homepage, updating minutes, agenda packets for all township board meetings, and to include planning commission and historical society.
My request, I know that we do put it on the front page. I know we record the minutes on the
Minutes on demand.
minutes on demand. It makes it easier when you're searching, especially when you're looking back on the history of what we've already presented and haven't presented. For example, the return check fee. I'm pretty sure that we presented something, but I couldn't find it. And maybe we didn't, but if we had all of these meetings on the minutes on demand, we'd be able to look at every agenda packet, and the minutes for those meetings for all. If we have boards that meet, we're supposed to do that. I would just like to see it as a record, instead of just putting it on the front page and then it's gone the next month, except for the minutes. That's my request. It's just a matter of uploading,
There's older files in there that they haven't been kept up to date.
right, there's,
So,
prior
like
years did
older
it.
years,
It was done
yeah, it was done.
about 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
And I showed Sherry the spot where it was too, how it wasn't updated.
You did that?
Yeah, I sent a whole bunch of, yeah, I took everything apart that was in those books and scanned them and sent them to Lori, and she did a bunch.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, that's what I did. I know I spent a lot of time.
I mean, you don't have to go back years, but the current one should at least be there.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, is everyone on board for that, or you
And
want?
then you can easily look up
It would have a
what's been
list of
done
what
at a
we've
certain
discussed.
time. Yeah, yeah. I think it's a good idea.
Okay, is everyone on board with that, or can we at least give Sherry at least a chance to, she's got a couple elections coming up here, that she's gonna be swamped for a while.
It only takes a couple minutes. I mean, when you just upload another from the minutes on demands,
Which probably has to find.
I wonder
Well,
if we
I have
could-
to find them all, gather them all, scan them all to my computer. It's
What-
not just.
what if
why don't we
we,
just start with
Press
like
of a button.
2018?
Oh, I was just gonna say from now on, not go back any further.
Yeah, that would
but-
work for me.
I'd start from this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't, she's got a lot going right this minute, so, what about, are we able to just, instead of putting it on the website, just put it immediately where it's supposed to go in the minutes? Well, we
Minutes on
can't do
demand.
that though, can we? Because we gotta have it, they all have to be approved before they go into that.
On minutes on demand?
You can't send them drafts, you want the permanent record in there.
So that the.
When you give the
agenda
minutes,
would-
like for this packet, it's for
Mhm.
last meeting, but
Yeah.
nothing gets approved until this is
For the
approved
permanent
here.
record.
Mhm.
So we really can't just do that, can we?
What does it take to do the minutes on demand? What do you have to do for that? Do you call somebody or just upload it?
No, I upload it myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we have the meeting and then you put the minutes on demand once everything's approved, so it would be a matter of,
So I'd be putting the previous month's minutes
Right.
on with the current month's agenda,
right,
because the previous month minutes have been approved. And then the agenda, well, I mean, that doesn't need to be approved, that was just the
Right.
agenda.
even if it was just the agenda, would be helpful. Just a list of the items, but,
I mean, not the support?
well, it would be
Just-
nice to see
just the-
everything. I mean, we could start it and see how that works. If Sherry's, or Marge can do it, to upload it.
It would be easy starting doing the current stuff, but digging back and doing like the past years.
Yeah, I
or
wouldn't
even the
want-
past
I mean, yeah, I
year,
wouldn't want
I
that.
wouldn't be able to do that until after the election.
Yeah, well, starting with like the current, that would be,
All
I'm
right,
good with that.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Do you want that in the form of a motion, or can we just
I'd
agree
like
that this
it-
is the way we're gonna do it?
I'd like a motion, I'll make the motion. I'm requesting that the clerk place on the township permanent minutes on demand, the agenda packets, minutes for all township board meetings to include the planning commission and historical society.
Starting
Starting with What month is this? Where are we? June. Starting with June, how about that? Because you have to get them approved before you can put them on there
Okay,
anyways.
do we have a second to that?
I'll second it.
We have
I
a
was waiting
second?
for her to get done.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not rushing you.
What day is it?
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, we have request by the treasurer to approve proposal price from KCI Grand Rapids to print the summer tax bills for 2018, the setup, process, print, mail, two-side tax bills for 1,872 property owners for the total cost of $1,157.62, requesting a deposit of all necessary postage in the amount of $707.61, and that should be paid up front, and it's their proposal number 195-183. I need a motion to approve the total amount of $1157.62, as well as sending the check out as a deposit in $707.616.
I'll make the motion to approve 1157.62 and the deposit of postage of 707.616 paid up front.
And I need a second? I'll second. All in favor signify by saying aye by roll call vote, please, because we're spending dough.
Tom?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Mary Agnes?
Yes,
Sherry? Yes.
motion carried. Thank you. This return check charge fee, I may have jumped the gun on that, but Nicole gave it to me, and she told me, would you put this on the agenda for the next thing, and I thought she cleared it with you, so.
Yeah, she did. I just thought that we both were thinking that we had one already, and I can't,
Well, she gave me an old one, but it was 2002.
Right.
Yeah, we couldn't find
the-
any one.
I don't think there is something new.
Yeah.
It's hard to find anything.
So,
So that would
that's
help.
what that's why I updated it.
Okay.
At her request, so.
Yeah, she knew, I knew.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we have the, resolution in your packet. If it's okay, I'd like, a motion to approve that so it can be entered in the record.
I'll make a motion for the approval of Resolution 2018-03 for return check charge fees, and I believe it was in the amount of $40.
Mhm.
Pages aren't numbered.
I'll second it.
You'll second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye with a roll call vote, please.
Mary Agnes?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Sherry? Yes.
Okay. Motion carried. Let's go on to the next item, which is number 4, we skipped because we removed it. Letter of engagement with Stewart, Bouvet, and Whipple. That's our CPAs and consultants for performing additional accounting services prior to the start of the audit, which dated May 31st. The letter of engagement is. Now with that, they had sent us something else, and then they requested it back and said that they would rather do it this way. It might be a little less expensive for us. Kathy, you've probably done more talking to Tammy than
Well,
I did.
actually,
What do you think God bless you.
we had a letter from them that we approved from the board for the initial 5,000 to 7,000 back on the 27th of March, for the 5,000 to 7,000, and that was just to do the the reconciliation, the bank reconciliations, based on all of us having our entries done. So, in the meantime, I guess you had contacted her about not having the clerks. The changes are all the general ledger that haven't been done. The journal entries have not been completed. So that was an additional $1,200 to $1,500
Right.
cost that you had talked to her about doing. And then, since it should be approved by the board before that gets going here, they came up with another letter of engagement telling us what the cost is going to be now because the general ledger is not, the journal entries haven't been made. So now they have to come in and do the journal entries, and they have to do the, all the reports that go, the pre-audit reports. If you don't have the general ledger done, you can't do the audit reports. So, as a treasurer, I can't go forward anymore. It all has to be, my side is done. But until the general ledger is done, I can't move forward. So these new estimates are based on the general ledger not being completed prior to the audit. So they had to do another letter of engagement for the board to approve, and that's what this is. And that was what you requested. I didn't request it. I just requested that it be presented to the board so we knew that there had been a change.
So how big of a thing is it to complete those entries?
That's a clerk's job. I don't know. Eesh.
Well, the assistants for 5,000 to 7,000.
But the journal entries that aren't made, the cost to have SBW, which is Stewart, Bouvet, and Whipple do it, estimated 8 to 10 hours at $1,200 to $1,500 to do since December, right? Isn't that what?
Well, that one is out now. This is the new one.
Right, but they had to redo it because of that. We can't do a audit until the general and all the journal entries. I've given all the journal entries I can, but that has to be done by the clerk's
Right.
department before an audit can be done.
Well, we asked if she would assist us with that. So
Right.
that's what she's going to be doing.
So that's what this letter of engagement's about.
Well, I think it saves us a little money from the other one, so.
It doesn't save money, it's adding money.
Well, the 1,500 is off now, just so you understand that. Now we're back to a different, of additional hours here, but some of this is
The new one includes
All that,
all,
that
yeah.
separate.
yeah, everything.
12 to 1,500.
Well, they're reducing it only to present it with the same 5,000 to 7,000, but the point is that we're having to do this over because we're not reconciling. So, that might be something we need to look at down the road is to maybe 6 months from now. That was something I was going to talk to you guys about was, at what point do we not, if we're going to have SBW come in, they're going to do their thing, they're going to reconcile. I guess the plan is to reconcile to March 31st, and then Sherry and I are going to both start working on doing bank reconciliations. It takes two of us, not just me. I do a portion, I turn it over to Sherry, she does her portion. So when do we expect to actually have a bank reconciliation? That's, if SBW comes in, I would like to make after we get talking with this, I would like to make a motion where we revisit it in September and say, okay, where do we stand now? Are we going to go another year without a bank rec, or maybe we need to come up with some other options as a board, what we need to do, get input from everybody.
Because they're only gonna help Sherry do up to March. So then we're already behind from April to current.
Every month I do mine. Every month I do my cash to the bank statement. That's my responsibility as a treasurer. So I've been doing that, and I'm good through May. But I can't go, the bank reconciliation can't be done until all the journal entries are done in the general ledger. And so that's what they're gonna do,
So why aren't they being done?
because the clerk's
I
department.
need some help with the due tos and due froms.
Right.
Yeah, she'll get that help
Okay.
this coming week.
But then
There are
once
other-
it's done, then to continue on.
Well, that's, as soon as she gets what they're trying to accomplish, it'll come back. She'll know what she's doing, and she only has to do one or two, and then she can finish them. But she
Okay.
wants to make sure that she's understanding it the way that, because there's a little bit of difference of opinion on the presentation, but we just want to make sure that she's doing it exactly the way they want it.
So in a couple months, it's not gonna come up
No,
again?
no, she'll be able to get caught up,
So-
I'm sure.
Okay.
There are ways, I mean, this is one way, but after this is done, Sherry, you're not giving up your general ledger duties, correct? Are you?
No.
No? Okay. So after SBW comes in, because there are other ways to get this training. It doesn't have to be SBW, and I gave you some options as well, people to call or whatever on that. Just the way you did the entries for your budget, it's the same thing as the due tos and froms. I just don't want to be sitting here next year and paying SBW the same amount to do it again. So
Exactly.
what's your plan? How are you going to initiate training? Are you going to, once we'll find out from SBW how we're doing, and that's why I'd like to revisit in September and say,
Okay, well, I
okay,
got
do
that.
you understand? Are we both on the same page? Are we having bank reps? Kind of take a look at it and see where we stand.
We can handle that. I
Okay.
think that's a good idea to revisit in September. I made a note, so. All right, so let's get back to the letter.
Well, that's the idea, is to be caught up by September. That's half a year.
Because until she does hers, then we can't do our side.
Yeah. I can keep doing my portion, but I have to wait for you to do yours before I can move forward.
Okay. All right, so the item on the agenda is to approve this or disapprove this letter. Is this something that you guys want to do, or?
Well, I personally, as a resident, and I just think I have to vote no. I just think that, we have to do it, but I just can't vote yes on it because I think there's other ways that it should have been done, and I just can't I've tried every which way to get myself to vote yes, but I've been hammering it for a year and a half, and I can't. I gotta vote no if we're gonna take a vote.
Okay, well, let's
That's-
put that on the agenda then. Are we, I'll make the motion to approve this letter as presented, dated May 31st as a new engagement letter. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Now, we need a roll call vote.
So this is something that has to be done to keep everything going. I understand Kathy's stand on it, she's making a statement, but we do have to approve this to keep the township going forward.
Right,
Okay.
all right. Go ahead with your roll call, please.
Sue?
Oh, wow. Yeah, this is difficult because I know she's been talking about this for quite some time. I do mine, and then the other side's got to be done, and it's not getting done. So, wow. So in how many months are we gonna come up with this again? What's this costing us as it's not being done? I'm a little bit confused about this, why it hasn't gotten done in all this time. You can go on to somebody else and think about this.
Tom?
We're gonna revisit this in September and make sure that everything's caught up and going as planned, like we talked about.
Okay, we can add that to the
Yeah.
motion. I will add that to my motion.
I'll vote yes then.
Will you add it to your second, whoever second? Oh, you seconded, didn't you? Okay.
Mary Agnes?
Yes.
Because if we don't, then what happens? We keep paying big dollars to have them come in and do it, because it's not being done here.
But if they don't do this
Yeah.
at this point,
Yeah, okay,
the other
so
problem.
let's go yes, and when we get to September, I hope that it's not gonna come up again. 'Cause then
Sherry,
it's-
yes.
Somebody's not doing their job.
Okay. And Kathy? No. No. All right, so we got 4-1 in favor. Motion carried. All right, our next item on the agenda is a request by Chris from the DPS superintendent to pay around $3,000 for a cost of the ArcGIS desktop advanced single-use primary maintenance agreement. That will run from July 1st of 2018 through June 30th of 2019. And the company that we purchased the equipment from was ERSI Incorporated from Redlands, California. And this is their maintenance agreement to keep it up to date. And I think it's for software too, isn't it?
Yeah, part of the, I guess part of the downside of the software, when we did the GIS system and everything put in there, there's a yearly maintenance fee to take care of the software and the upgrades and that, and this is it, so.
Yeah, it's kind of steep, but
It is, and that was one of the issues with going with the ESRI system, is that their yearly cost is up there, so. We're requesting to continue with it, but we're also looking at a different aspect of PCE, which we did over in the township. We're using something.
I was going to ask you, is there a cheaper way to go than this
There's a
one?
freeway to go, so.
Oh.
There's a
Well,
freeway? Oh.
Well, we need to maintain this.
For at least a year.
This
I know.
system for now, so, again, unfortunately, it's part of the cost of that free grant money that we need to maintain.
Ever get the rest of our equipment from the other engineers? that we-
Yes.
We did?
Yep.
Okay, please.
I've got the computer, all the film, I've been reviewing all the film, so we've got everything from them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
It's in my possession now, so.
All right, I'd entertain a motion then to approve this $3,000 cost to ERSI Incorporated for the maintenance, for the programming and the hardware for this computer system for the sewer.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and we're spending money, so could we have a roll call vote, please?
Tom,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Mary, I guess,
Yes.
Sherry, yes.
So by next year, we'll have it,
Motion carried.
cross your fingers?
Yeah, I hope so. Like I said, it's gonna incorporate more than just the sewer end of it. If nothing else, it will be part of our yearly fees, but we're hoping to look and see if we can migrate that somewhere else, so. We'll be working on it.
Okay. All right, number 7 is a request by a neighbor of the Township Hall, Angie and Lance Hours. They live right across the road. They wanted permission to utilize the parking lot, the gravel parking lot of the township parks and a paved portion of the Township Hall if they needed for extra parking spaces. They're holding an outdoor wedding for their son in their yard at 5868 Shortcut Road. And that would eliminate anyone from parking alongside of the road because it gets dangerous. I know sometimes when we have events out there in the park and we run out of space, they start parking on the side of the road and the sheriff usually comes and pays us a visit. So if we can possibly give them permission to use that on Saturday, September 8th, between 2 p.m. and dusk, and there'll be nothing else scheduled in the park, so it won't interfere with anyone else. And I'd like to remind you that these people kind of took care of making sure that door was locked or that gate was locked every evening for me for almost 10 years. So I would like permission to give them permission to do this on behalf of the board if we could.
And our insurance would cover
They have
something
insurance.
happen. Would we have to write it up as if they're renting the pavilion in order for the insurance?
No,
if something
they
happened?
have their own insurance. They've got enough, and they're supplying that when we get closer to the date.
Okay,
Do we have to worry about our insurance covering anything on the park? If
No.
anything's damaged or?
No, I don't think so.
Their
Well,
insurance won't
we have
cover that, right?
We have insurance for the park, so.
Okay.
because I thought
regardless.
maybe we would just have to write it up as if somebody's renting it, and then they get their money back. So if it was written up, I mean,
Like
like,
they're renting the parking lot.
yeah, like
Yeah, but we're
we're,
not renting it, so.
but maybe,
Maybe
It should
written
be.
up like that, because people that rent the pavilion obviously park there too.
Yeah, but we're not gonna be taking anybody that day. We're not
Right.
allowing anyone.
Right,
We
but I'm
blocked it off
saying
already.
That would be the contract between us and them.
yeah, so there
They
would
can
be
say they're
a
renting the
contract.
pavilion, we don't.
All right, if you want
say they're not.
paper trail, I'll be happy to draw that up.
Yeah,
Just to cover.
just in case something happened and we were sued too. We don't want the insurance saying you didn't have a contract with them.
And that may be something to think about, because I've received many calls of people asking if they can use the parking lot for, parties of such mostly the residents down this road, just for parking after hours. I don't know.
Can we stand out there with park here
Yeah.
signs?
Yeah, I've never heard of it. All right, do we have a motion? I guess I'll make the motion to approve the use of the township parking lots, the gravel ones, and the hall here as a runover if necessary for their outdoor wedding of their son at 5868 Shortcut Road for Angie and Lance Hours, and that there will be an agreement drawn up as if she's renting the park, even though we're not gonna allow anyone else in. And it would be for Saturday, September 8th, between 2 and dusk.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any, those opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you. We have in your packet a rather large little booklet that was put together by PCE for the sanitary sewer system for the 2018 rehabilitation sanitary sewer system. That had to be submitted to the DEQ by June 4th. I met with the engineer and Chris at his office. We went through it pretty thorough. He made a couple of changes and then redrafted the stuff that we discussed, and they turned it in already. So I just want you to have a copy of it, and that would go on the record that it was approved.
And I saw her in Lansing yesterday, and they haven't even reviewed it yet. She said they're sitting down at the end of this week and they'll review it and get back to us. But she seemed pretty positive about what she saw on it. So.
Very good, very good. So I entertain a motion to approve the 2018 rehabilitation plan for the Cottrellville Township sanitary sewer system prepared by PCE. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay. Public announcements. Is there any public announcements? Yes.
I think you had that lift station thing on there.
Oh,
Renee?
that's right.
The Little Street? Or, no?
There was something Kennedy.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Kennedy.
Number 9.
Just
Number
read it.
9. Request for approval of additional hardware and installation to the pump station number 1 to supply and install 1 float in the wet well for the high alarm and conduit with explosion-proof fittings. These are $540.
Just so you know, that was, what it is there was an oversight by Kennedy when they came out. The system that's in there now is an analog system, which is old. We all know
Antiquated.
that it's old. So their assumption was that they could hook digital outputs into the new box that was going out there.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So basically, they just need there's a new float that has to be put in, so it's a little additional charge. The stuff that's being put in will be used
Utilized for the next
in the
one.
future, so
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not
money
wasted money.
wasted. It's just, they thought they could utilize some of the old stuff, but it just won't tie into the new stuff, so that's what that additional charge is for.
Okay. I'll make the motion then to approve this expense.
I'll second.
And we have a motion and a second, and we're going to do a roll call vote because we're spending money.
Tom?
Yes.
Mary Agnes?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Sherry? Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and get that ordered, Chris, because I know it's probably holding you up. Let's see. Now we're back to announcements. Okay, we have the St. Clair County Michigan Township Association chapter is having their summer meeting at the China Township Hall on Friday, June 15th at 11:30. If you want to go, give them a call. We're supposed to have it in by the 8th of June, but when I called, they said that they could add 1 or 2 if anybody wanted to go. It's a close one, so. Also, the County Commissioner Bill Graytop wants to invite township board members that are elected to their meeting on Monday, which is June 18th, from 5 to 8 p.m. at the St. Clair Golf Club. If you want to attend, it's networking with public and private leadership and in connecting with state and local officials. And I think that's it. Anybody, any board members have any other comments?
I'd like to thank Tom and Sue Simons for supplying us flowers for our fundraising day. I wish we would have sold more. It was such a miserable day, but what'd we do, $251?
Something pretty good.
Something like
For
that,
that day.
yes. And also, I just got a call from her the other day. She had flowers, if we want to plant here. So I went and got them. I planted them out under the sign. I pulled the weeds out in front. But is there a hose in the garage so I can water this stuff? Otherwise, I gotta bring mine and it'll probably leak all over the back of my van.
Well, I'll take care of the water, because we can't really use this water, it's too salty.
No, it'll be okay. I use my well water for my flowers all the time.
Yeah, but this is different over here. You see what it's doing to the toilet?
I've drank it. It's fine.
Yeah, mine did that, well water. I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't hurt the
If you,
flowers.
if you have
They're used to it.
house plants and you water them for a couple of years, it's gonna kill them. But I water all my flowers in my gardens with my salty, irony well water, and it doesn't kill them.
Yeah. Okay.
So we can just use this water.
I don't
And
know if the
just-
hose is,
Yeah.
there's a hose in the thing or not,
Okay.
but there is
Is
a
it-
spigot right there.
Yeah, I know there's one over there. So is the garage open like in the morning? Does somebody unlock it?
Yeah, we have to unlock it.
Okay, so if I come tomorrow morning, well, I'll throw my hose in the back anyway, because I want to get them watered. I brought some good compost and mixed it all up, so.
Okay, very good.
So it
Thank
should be
you.
pretty if they don't die. Yeah, but again, thanks to Simons, we've got some
Thanks for
flowers.
coming out and planting,
Oh,
weeding.
I've done it before, yeah. So.
She's got a green thumb.
Yeah.
No, I've got brown thumb.
Dirt thumb.
Okay.
My yard, no problem.
Is
I
there
still
anything
haven't
anybody else
finished
wants to
mine.
discuss? Mr. Barnes, did you have anything that you want to talk about that was not on the?
No, I'm
Agenda?
just curious, if you heard anything, why they were putting in, they put it across the street and then they came back and put it by my house by the gas meter, the poles that are yellow, says something about gas line or something. Is that so that if the county trucks go by in the winter or something, they will get one of those exposed gas lines or whatever?
Well, they shouldn't be exposed.
Well, when
It's
you
just-
have your,
When you're plowing snow?
yeah, I was wondering, they put it right, you know where your meter is out, if you have a meter outside,
in the
or,
front?
you know, the
Mhm.
connection outside. They put one right there, and then across the street, at Kenny's house, kitty corner, where his came out, like, you know, where they got hooked up, they put another yellow pole in there.
I don't know
They
why they
did
would
that
do
in
that.
China Township.
They've got meters, it's because of the
Yeah,
high
so
pressure
they don't
main.
want people
It
to-
reduces the
Yeah.
reduces the pressure, and it's above ground. And what happens is people with snowmobiles or whoever, somebody goes through there, and they hit them.
Yeah.
So if they mark them with that pole, that they're hoping they'll go
That's what I
along.
was thinking, because in the winter, you know, when that scrape goes by, sometimes he comes really close to the mailbox, so he comes a little closer, so he also get that meter there, so.
Yeah.
I just wondered, all of a sudden they're putting up a nice yellow pole. Go way up there.
All right, well, if we haven't got anything else to discuss, we'll take a motion to adjourn at 8:39.
I'll make the motion to adjourn, 8:39.
I'll second.
It's light out.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, everybody.
So you